Before you watch this critique on District Attorney Alvin Bragg, understand I do not support Donald Trump. And I don't support black bootlicks either, because both your black bootlicks and your white supremacists do not want to empower black people. Coming to paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, 1987. Learn lessons about life and teenage love in the 1980s with this coming-of-age John Haynes story. Pre-order your copy of John Haynes, 1987 at online booksellers everywhere. Last week, Mr. Superboy made a video about Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. And while he discussed how these racists are going after Alvin Bragg in his video, I wanted to give people a bit more perspective on Alvin Bragg because I live here in New York City. Now, as a New York resident, I know that Alvin Bragg has been celebrated as the first black district attorney for Manhattan, and he's been celebrated because of his education and background, being a Harvard graduate who has been elected to this prominent political position here in New York. However, what most people across the world don't know about Alvin Bragg is that Alvin Bragg really isn't about black people, and Alvin Bragg has shown that basically with the case of Maya Ponsetto. Now, in the case of Maya Ponsetto was one of these Hispanic Karens who went out here and racially profiled a teenage boy during the COVID pandemic, alleging that this boy stole her iPhone and actively looked to try to take his iPhone, accusing him of stealing hers. However, after pinging the app, she found her iPhone in an Uber, and Alvin Bragg's response was not to go out here and get justice for that teenage black boy who had been racially profiled. No, what Alvin Bragg wanted to do was go out here and make a deal where this woman would not be held accountable for her crimes of racially profiling this teenage boy and setting a legal precedent that would protect black boys and black men from the passive-aggressive terrorism that these Karens participate in. Now, these Karens passively go out here and approach and racially profile black people aggressively to get attention for themselves, and they look to go out here and start trouble for black men in the hopes of feeling some sort of worth and validation in a society that they feel irrelevant from. And this racial profiling and terrorism could have been dealt with once and for all. Unfortunately, Alvin Bragg was more interested in going out here and licking the boots of the white supremacists in the Blue Party rather than standing up for black people. And that was the first stab in the back to foundational black Americans that Alvin Bragg participated in as related to getting justice, because he ran on a ticket talking about getting justice for black people and just did nothing as related to the case of Maya Ponsetto. And with doing nothing for Maya Ponsetto, he basically went out here and, again, disrespected that 14-year-old black boy and showed that he is not interested in getting justice for black men and protecting black men from Karens, but he's interested in going out here and looking to lick the boots of the white supremacists in the hopes of creating a covert contract between himself and these prominent New York politicians and Washington politicians in the hopes of getting himself a federal job from the Biden administration. So he's basically an empty suit looking to climb the ladder, and he's looking to climb the ladder for himself, and he's willing to do that by towing the party line by supporting destructive policies here in New York City, such as bail reform, and openly saying that he doesn't want to prosecute individuals who are terrorizing people here in New York City. He has openly gone out and said he is not going to actively prosecute people, and lots of cases he has not filed charges of as related to certain cases. Like there was a one where a woman was pushed onto the train tracks and lost her life. He did nothing about that, and he's openly said he's not going to prosecute certain cases. And again, this is what Alvin Bragg is doing, looking to toe the blue party line, not interested in looking to go out here and get justice for black people or representing getting the tangible of justice for black people. And that is shown as related to his efforts to go out here and create this case against former President Donald Trump. And what Alvin Bragg wants to do by making this case against Donald Trump is what he's looking to do is try to create a covert contract between himself and the Biden administration, and believes that if he goes out here and prosecutes the case against former President Donald Trump, what he believes he's going to do is, like many of the black bootlicks, get himself a attorney general appointment from Joe Biden, and believes that if he goes out here and gets this conviction, he will be assured getting that attorney general appointment if the attorney general decides to step down from his position if Joe Biden gets a second term. He's basically gambling in hopes of elevating his social status in the blue party, and he's hoping to go out here and hoping to take this weak case against former President Trump, hoping to make his career with this prosecution, similar to the way that Kevin Steele wanted to go out here and elevate his social status by taking down Bill Cosby on those trumped up sexual assault charges, and like in the case of Marsha Clark and the LA prosecutor's office, hoping to bring down O.J. Simpson in the hopes of elevating their careers. And when most people look at the case as related to these 34 counts of the indictment, it's looking like Alvin Bragg is looking to try to destroy Donald Trump in order to elevate himself. And the big problem with Alvin Bragg is he's like Icarus. He's flying too close to the sun as related to the institution of white supremacy. Now, Alvin Bragg thinks that he's going to get brownie points with many of those in the blue party, and as he believes he's going to get brownie points with those in the blue party, he has not really connected the dots to understand that white supremacy is on the left just like it is on the right. And because white supremacy is on the left as it is on the right, what he's doing is walking into a danger zone, and in that danger zone he is basically on his own. And he's on his own because he's in a situation where he's looking to bootlick, thinking that he's going to get brownie points with the white supremacists, and he doesn't understand that the white supremacists basically are using him at this point to be a crash test dummy politically, and they're using him to be a political crash test dummy and go out here and hit the wall as related to this case, because as related to the case of Donald Trump, they never really wanted to prosecute Donald Trump at all, because if they were to get any sort of conviction against Donald Trump, it would cripple white supremacy, because white supremacy isn't just about law. It is an unwritten social system of, like Professor Black Truth talks about, freebies, goodies, giveaways, and unwritten benefits that the white supremacists receive as related to their economic and political system. And as related to these charges of these improper business practices from former President Donald Trump, those in the blue party participate in the same thing, and this is why many of them backed off of the so-called classified documents, because as they were out here looking for Trump's classified documents, they were out here seeing that Biden and many of those in the Blue Party also had those same documents. So they quickly backed off because, again, they wanted to continue having their system of white supremacy where they could receive those unwritten benefits. So that's why they quickly backed off Trump as related to those documents. And what they're doing with Alvin Bragg is setting him up to take a big fall as he prosecutes this case. Because as your Alvin Bragg is spellbound by these white people and looking to gain their favor and acceptance, he believes he can fit into a political box that will make him acceptable to them, but they have never wanted to accept him. Basically, again, setting him up to be a political crash test dummy that is set up to take a huge fall. And he's been set up to take a huge fall as related to this flimsy case, because the whole goal of setting him up is to make it look like he does not appear to be competent, because the ultimate goal is to make it where many don't see him as competent, and in 2025 look to replace him with somebody else. Unfortunately, Alvin Bragg is too busy looking to pander and gain favor of these white folks on the left to see that white supremacy is using him as a pawn in their chess game. And as they use him as a pawn in their chess game, as related to Donald Trump, what they want to do is go out here, send him on this kamikaze mission to prosecute Donald Trump. And as he's prosecuting Donald Trump, what they're looking to do is question his competence. And as they question his competence, they know the outcome of this trial, because the outcome of this trial definitely will be not guilty, because white supremacy, again, doesn't punish white supremacy the same way Satan does not cast out Satan. Because if Satan cast out Satan, Satan has no power. And again, the white supremacists on the left want the same benefits, get good giveaways and goodies that they've benefited from. And if they go out here and create a legal precedent to convict Donald Trump, they wind up losing those benefits the same way they wound up losing those benefits with the conviction of Bill Cosby. Many of those white men were the ones who realized, hey, if we have this Me Too conviction, any woman can go out here and take our rights away just by her own allegation. And a conviction against Bill Cosby creates a legal precedent where white men do not have that whole benefit. So that's why the Bill Cosby conviction was overturned, in addition to it being overturned as related to the affidavit that was not supposed to be used. The whole thing is white supremacy does not want to lose its benefits. And again, those benefits are on the left as they are on the right. And Alvin Bragg is basically putting those benefits in jeopardy. And he doesn't really see that they are not going to convict a Donald Trump because they want those benefits. But what they will do is make Alvin Bragg the punchline of a cruel joke. And the cruel joke is sending a black bootlick out here to be that political crash test dummy, and watching as that political crash test dummy hits the wall as he prosecutes a case that a previous white prosecutor, Cyrus Vance, turned down, because not only because of a lack really of evidence, but because it would further tarnish the Blue Party, making them appear to be desperate. It was not a good case for the prosecutor to prosecute, because it would be tawdry and tacky, 1. 2, it would be a really weak case to prove and just shows the desperation of the Blue Party. And 3, optically, it would have looked bad for the entire Blue Party to go after at that time. But they will send a black bootlick to go be the crash test dummy who goes on a kamikaze mission. And as the black bootlick goes on the kamikaze mission, what he does is be the punchline of the cruel joke when there is an acquittal of Donald Trump. and he's then has his competence questioned. And as he's getting his competence questioned in 2024, what happens is that the Blue Party is setting up a new white male candidate to be running for district attorney in late 2024 as Biden is running for president. And then in 2025, they send this guy out on the campaign, and he winds up primarying Alvin Bragg, the first black New York prosecutor, who has basically dug his grave from day one when he started saying, "I won't prosecute cases as related to the crime here in New York City," again, alienating many of those rich, prominent New York residents who live in Manhattan. And he has also gone out here and taken cases like Maya Ponsetto, where this Karen gave her a pass, alienating the black voting bloc. And he has spoken again in ways that just show that he really is not somebody who is competent. And again, then going after a case that white prosecutors have turned down, he has basically, again, dug a political grave for himself, and the white supremacists allowed him to dig this grave. And they allowed him to dig this grave because, again, this is all about, one, going out here and proving a point presented in the movie Birth of a Nation, where they said that the black people were incompetent. And two, it's all about going out here and destroying the black image as related to leadership, because what they want to do is send a message that a black person is not capable of leading. And this is what they're doing with black politicians like an Eric Adams, who is just a completely incompetent individual, and an Alvin Bragg. What they want to do is traumatize people and scar them as related to the image of black leadership. And as these black males go out here and look to play these political games with white supremacy, the greatest mistake that they make is not understanding the subtle politics transpiring around them, and not understanding that there are anti-black racists among those leftists, and those anti-black racists basically are setting them up as related to the big picture of blacks in politics. And what they want to do nationwide is make black people appear to be the image of incompetence. And sadly, many of these bootlicks are so caught up in gaining the favor and approval of whites that they don't understand that they are being set up to fail. And they're being set up to fail because the white supremacist basically wants to make them the image of failure, so that they can assure that they can wind up with whites in these jobs for the next 30 years, the same way they did when we had New York's first black mayor, David Dinkins. When we had New York's first black mayor, David Dinkins, and the crime went out of control, and the media just hyped it up to incredible levels during the crack epidemic. This assured we did not have a black mayor for 30 years, even though crime had run out of control under Abe Beame and Ed Koch. The whole thing is they put the black man as the face of failure, and the same thing has been done here with Alvin Bragg. They want to make him the face of failure because the prosecutor's office is a tremendous position of power, and it's a position of power where individuals can wind up getting punished, and those individuals can wind up getting punished for an extended period of time if the prosecutor is good. But when you have a prosecutor who is ambitious and looking to bootlick, they don't understand the power that they have. A prosecutor, again, has the power to help young black males wind up staying out of prison as related to trumped-up charges. A good prosecutor can go out here and make sure that investigations are done to make sure that the justice is served. But when you have a black bootlick and an empty suit in that position, that black bootlick and that empty suit is all about trying to get their next job, and they're looking to get that next job either as the governor's attorney general or as the governor themselves, or they're looking to, like I believe Alvin Bragg is doing, looking to become an attorney general in the Biden administration, they're looking to get that next job on their resume, and they're not really interested in getting the tangible of justice, because if Alvin Bragg was all about getting the tangible of justice, he would have gone out here and sent a message as related to Maya Ponsetto, this Karen, and sent a message that you will not racially profile black people, but because he put his political ambitions ahead of black people. This is why Alvin Bragg is a bootlick. And again, this bootlick is, again, like Icarus flying too close to the sun with former President Trump. And he's flying too close to the sun because he doesn't understand that he's getting in the middle of two sides of white supremacy, and both of those sides are anti-black. And because those two sides are anti-black, they don't regard an Alvin Bragg. They don't respect an Alvin Bragg. And Alvin Bragg, again, sadly, is not smart enough to see that neither side supports him, neither side cares about him, and both sides, again, want a not guilty outcome. Yes, they may make a lot of noise about how much they don't like Donald Trump, but both sides love white supremacy, and both sides love the benefits they receive from white supremacy, and it's nothing for them to remove a black bootlick, because, again, like Professor Black Truth has said in many of his videos, bootlick is a job without a retirement plan, and those who are out here bootlicking, they don't understand the subtle politics transpiring around them, and because they don't understand the subtle politics transpiring around them, they wind up getting set up to be these political crash test dummies who go out here and prove white supremacy's points. And after they prove white supremacy's points, what they do is set them up to take them out, just like they did with Lori Lightfoot in Chicago. What they do is set you up to fail, and that's what they're doing right now with Eric Adams and Alvin Bragg. Both of these guys are political pawns and political crash test dummies, and these political crash test dummies are being set up to just hit the wall and break down, and white supremacy is setting them up to get a good laugh. And as they set them up to get a good laugh, as they're playing their political theater, Alvin Bragg has no idea that he is the punchline of white supremacy's cruel joke that they have been playing on black people since the days of Ralph Ellison's Invisible Man. And sadly, he's just stepped on the electrified rug, and he's trying to grab the change, not understanding that they were never going to give him any change. They were just setting him up so they could make him the punchline of a cruel joke. And the cruel joke was letting him believe that they were actually going to go out here and convict a Donald Trump and put him in jail, because, again, white supremacy does not go out here and punish white supremacy. Racists do not punish racists, and Satan does not cast out Satan. Satan, if he casts himself out, he has no power, and Satan isn't going to cast himself out, and that's where Alvin Bragg misses out as related to the interpretation of law, as related to white supremacy, and that may be the thing that leads to him becoming politically checkmated. Now, if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, and my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. And if you want to pick up some of my black fiction on the SJS Direct imprint, like the ISIS series, the E-Steam series, the John Haynes series, and the books of the Spencerella trilogy, you can find those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them in other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. That's all I have to say for this video, and comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, Godbreaker. The man who rules the world takes on the Asgardian god of thunder in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes, Godbreaker in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere.